Hello. Today I want to talk about our lovely mother, the earth, and I want to talk about energy centers and grids that she has. Many of you are aware that our bodies have energy centers, they have energy lines, and just want to remind you, the earth also has their own as well. So a lot of people talk about, particular gateways or energy points on the earth that are, and they associate them with chakras. And this is the first chakra, this is the second chakra, blah, blah. I'm going to talk a little bit in some dimensions above that, and I'm going to talk about the grid networks that help support many of those energy centers. And just like as there is with the human body, it's made up of many structures and layers that help it function and work. The skeletal system being one, and then we've got our muscles, we've got our blood, we've got our organs, we've got all these other things that also help create a healthy, functioning human body. The earth also has this too, in the sense of not just her chakras, if you want to call them that, but she has these other elements, these other energy fields that also help keep her in a very healthy, functioning way. So, I'm going to talk about 5 planetary grids. There are at least one more than what I'm going to share. And a lot of this work is based on, I am sharing a lot of Lisa Renee's work. I'm aware that she is not a big fan of her information and her knowledge and her wisdom being shared on especially social media platforms. However, she does such amazing work. I just have to share it. I really just have to share her work, and I have to mention that she has this plethora, amazing glossary of so many things. And a dear friend referred me to her work a number of years ago, and I just ended up binge watching all of her podcasts from about 2009. She did podcasts even before then, which I hadn't listened to. And it's really great. But it also can, depending on where you're at in your life, it could be a little bit ungrounding. So I just want to also mention that too. There's a lot of information to be processed and integrated, and if you're not aware of some of the concepts that she's speaking of, then take it slow, take it easy. Not only can you listen to her podcasts, you can also read them, and then she also has a lot of written and other resources that could help as well. So, because some of this information can be seen as quite etherical. It's experienced through different realms of the body, but she helps bring it into I don't want to say intellectual, but it's a little bit more of it helps with communicating with more people that may not necessarily find these concepts easy to understand. It can help bridge. What I'm saying is the way in which she communicates the information can help bridge the information to some people, but not all. Not the kind of information she shares. There's probably only a very few % of the world that's really in a capacity to understand what she's saying, and that's okay. So yes, the 5 planetary grids. The first one I want to talk about is what she calls the Great White Lion. And the center of that is predominantly in Egypt. Now, all these grids, they create a shape around the world or over the world. And the Great White Lion, its sort of main center point is Egypt. And it's often associated with the element of water. Yes, and so this one helps stabilize the 12 vertical exodonal lines across the earth. And I just felt really cool to have a feather join us with this one today. And the next one I want to talk about is the Golden Eagle grid, and that center point is often associated with the land of Iraq and also the element of ear. So with the great golden eagle grid, there's like a shape of the eagle that it forms around the planet. And the same with the great white lion, it forms a lion-like shape across the earth. And so with this great eagle grid, from what I'm aware, there has been a lot of targeting with that grid, and it's also often referred to as the 12th dimensional stargate, the one in Iraq. It's also associated with that quite heavily. And there's a lot of distortions that have taken place with that one, predominantly the Archangel Michael storylines. And I'm aware that there's been a lot of work done on that recently to help remove a lot of those distortions. So that work is still somewhat undergoing, and it may still take a little while. But I'm personally very happy to hear that and to know that that is on its way. It's getting worked through. The word Michael, for me, I have my own I have a paternal family line through my own, me here in this life right now, with the word Michael as well. So it's through a lot of my paternal line, that name, and even my late father, his middle name was Michael. So yes, anyhow, I won't go too far into that. The next one I want to mention is called the Sacred Blue Cow Grid, and that one main place is India. And it's associated with the element of earth, and it works a lot with the natural kingdoms, nature. It heals a lot of the natural kingdoms, and it also can help with the guru disciple distortions that can happen. So there's obviously always work being done on these grids to help get rid of that which no longer serves. And it's also associated with the blue ray family. Now, when I'm talking about things like Archangel Michael and blue ray families, this is not necessarily a human family. It's not necessarily showing up and presenting itself in a human-like form. They reside in other dimensions. That's all I can say. So the next one I talk about is the 4 pillars of man. This is what Lisa Renee calls it, the 4 pillars of man, and that is often associated with the element of fire, and the center point of that is Easter Island, and that creates a shape around the earth that creates these 4 pillars coming out from a center point. Now, with this grid, it's often associated with the 12 guardians of the tribal shield, which obviously it links in more to our older ancestors, the linear of time being linear. And what I really love about this one is that it's also has a big connection to the Lemurian network. For me, this is my understanding, is that the Pacific Ocean holds a lot of that energy, and that's most likely where the land of Mu was, which is a land in which is talked about, discussed and shared with the Lemurian timeline. People may have other perceptions of different places for that, and that's okay. But for me, my understanding, I associate the Pacific Ocean a lot with that. And from what I am aware, I'm living in the land of Amaru, born in the land of Aotearoa, but in the land of Amaru, from what I can see, the peoples, the original, well, if I can call them that, the original peoples of this land, they are what I would consider the remaining, potentially the last remaining descendants of the Lemurian peoples, which is very special. I could talk more about that another day, but yes. And the last one I talk about, again, we're going back to the lands of Amaru, is the Mother Arc Hubs, and the center point of that is Uluru. So this one doesn't necessarily create a grid shape of a particular kind across the earth, unlike the other 4 do. And this one is more associated with the element of what we might call ether. So it's not associated, it's not necessarily associated with the element of water and fire and earth and air, although obviously ether it contains all of those. ether starts to get beyond the physical kind of matter. And with this hub, it's also often associated with what we would call the Mother's 13th gateway. There is very much a maternal-like energy and influence with this arc. And what I really love about it is often associated with the colour and the energy of aquamarine. Now that's not to say that the Uluru is that colour, because from what we can see it's a different colour, but energetically when we start getting into the imagery that you can sometimes perceive that's beyond the physical, you can see there's an aquamarine energy that it can work with. And that's not to say like it's only felt in Uluru. That's just sort of like the hub that holds it all, that holds that grid, that hub together. And like I said before, all of the grids in this hub, they all work with these particular energy points, ley lines, vertical lines, horizontal lines that are across the earth. So yes, let me know if they've got any questions, if you've got any comments on what I've just shared. Of course, what I've shared is very unlikely that science has married itself with this sharing. It may do in the future, and as to when that happens, I cannot put a timeline on it. So I'm not saying you have to believe what I've just said here, nor have I ever really said that. I'm just sharing information. If it resonates with you, great. If it doesn't, that's okay too. And I will see you in the next vlog.